I love Star Trek, but science fiction has a problem with bisexuals. It's time to nerd out. Let's talk about Star Trek's problem with bisexuality. All of science fiction in society has a problem with bisexuals, but let's focus on Star Trek. Recently, in the newest season of Star Trek Discovery, the crew took a trip to the Mirror Universe, a place where everyone's counterparts are evil, twisted versions of the characters we know and love. And apparently where goatees are extremely fashionable, and everyone just tortures each other just for funsies. In the season finale, one of the counterparts, who is one of the most evil, twisted characters on the show, is revealed to be bisexual by sleeping with a man and a woman in a brothel, despite the fact that her normal universe version was straight. This isn't the first time Star Trek's done the simple idea of straight characters become bisexual in an evil universe idea. Okay, so not simple, but it's not the first time they've done it. It's actually been done several times throughout Star Trek's history, such as on Deep Space Nine with the characters of Kira Nerys and Ezri Dax. These are textbook examples of the depraved bisexual trope, and the parallel universe idea adds an interesting wrinkle. All right, I've had enough of you, goody two-shoes. Oh God, not you. Yes, it is I, Evil Mirror You. You can tell by my elegant goatee and edgy hip attire. It is an elegant goatee, right? Anyways, I have a problem with you. What do you mean by depraved bisexual? The depraved bisexual is a common trope in media, where villain characters are written as bisexual in order to highlight their villainy through promiscuity and lack of social mores. Being bisexual is equated with being evil in these cases because, of course, anyone who has boundaries or morals wouldn't be bisexual. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's like saying, if you're bisexual, you're more likely to steal candy from babies. But Star Trek has had other evil bisexuals not in the Mirror Universe, like the Borg Queen from the Borg Collective. Why are you harping on Mirror Universe bisexuals? That's offensive. Yes, Star Trek has portrayed numerous villains as bisexuals, not just Mirror Universe ones. But the Mirror Universe bisexuals are particularly distressing because their normal counterparts are straight. This representation implies that bisexuality is actually a choice made by people who want to be more promiscuous, which is a common bisexual stereotype. But in real life, we bisexuals can either be super promiscuous or super conservative. We can even be asexual. We're just as diverse as straight people. We're not just going around having sex with everything that walks. Okay, I see the problem with the stereotype, but these characters are cool and powerful. I mean, look at Kira in Deep Space Nine. Her normal universe version was a goody two-shoes like you, but her evil Mirror Universe counterpart was a badass bisexual intendant who loved leather and took no craps from anybody. And Georgiou in Star Trek Discovery was literally the Empress of the galaxy. Being a depraved bisexual didn't stop that badass woman of color from being ruler of the entire universe. I love my powerful bisexual villains. They're some of my favorite characters. But being a villain is sometimes all bisexuals are allowed to be in media. I want a badass bisexual hero as well in my Star Trek. Queer coding villains, especially as queer bisexuals, has been a problem for a very long time. But some of us are evil. But not all of us are. Queer people are just as diverse as non-queer people. All right, I get it. But give us a break. Star Trek just introduced their first gay couple. Yeah, I mean, I do love Wilson Cruz and Anthony Rapp on the show. They're some of my favorite characters. Though they did just do a Bury Your Gay storyline. Hey, spoilers. Sorry. Anyways, since we just got them, you're gonna have to wait for a cool bisexual character. You can't expect all your representation all at once. You're right, and that's a problem. We've been told that equality and representation are a line of succession. First, we get gay men represented because they're the most digestible. I mean, look at Queer Eye for the Straight Guy or Will and Grace. Then lesbians, like with the L word, then bisexuals, then binary trans people, and way at the back of the line you get non-binary transgender people and genderqueer people. But that's not how it should go. It's frustrating for anybody to be told to wait your turn. Especially because each and every one of us has a right to tell our stories and be properly represented right now. Okay, but why are you focusing on Star Trek? So many shows have depraved bisexuals. Buffy the Vampire Slayer had a parallel universe episode where Evil Willow was gay. Yes, that is true. Buffy the Vampire Slayer did do a parallel universe storyline with the character of Willow, but that was actually foreshadowing how the real Willow was also a lesbian. She just wasn't out yet. The only difference was her evil version wasn't inhibited by societal pressures. Like the societal pressure to not murder people then eat them. Willow was always gay. Being evil just made her not care about hiding it. Whereas in Star Trek, being evil made straight characters bisexual. It's a subtle, yet important distinction. But the real reason I'm so critical of Star Trek is that it's so important to me. Star Trek is one of the few things in media that attempts to show a bright, optimistic future, built on a foundation of celebrating humanity's diversity and our constant desire to better ourselves. Yet because Star Trek was predominantly created and funded by straight cisgendered white men, it sometimes does a disservice to the very diversity that it's attempting to celebrate. And I think it's important to fight for a dream of the future that accurately reflects all the beauty and diversity of humanity, including bisexuality. Because if we dream it, we can be it. That was so lame. All right, I'm going back to my universe. I need to groom my goatee anyways. Don't listen to her. Science fiction, especially Star Trek, shows us what we could be. Everyone, including bisexuals, deserves to be told that they're allowed to be in that future, not just as villains, but as heroes and citizens. Star Trek shows us our tomorrow, so let's make sure it's a good one, where all of us are properly represented, evil or otherwise.